What's up, Kyle?
How you doing?
I don't know if everyone knows. I'm sure they don't. Me and Kyle used to work with one another, so that's why, that's how we know each other.
Yeah.
We used to intern with one another, but we both went to film school, obviously.
Yep.
Right? I went to UNO. You went to Dillard as well. So I don't know how Dillard's film program really is. I'll be honest with you. I've heard good things from it though. I've heard high praise. Like I've heard you niggas say like, oh yeah, like I enjoyed Dillard's film program. I know like every film program has its like pros and
Ups
cons.
and downs, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, people at UNO just shit on UNO's film program.
Well, we're not
like,
that different.
People just talk the dog shit out of the fucking UNO's program. But I've heard good things. Give us a kind of insight of what you can say what you want to say.
Okay.
I obviously don't shit talk your school.
All right, so first things first, no. Dillard, when I first got here, it was COVID. So
Right.
for the most part, it didn't really get the best introduction. We still did a couple things here and there with my Film 101 class, but the way Dillard's curriculum is set up, you take your major course and then there's all this general ed. And then you don't really get into your major until like halfway through your sophomore year.
Oh shit. Okay.
So
Really?
it took me a bit to really start appreciating the major because I'm like, did I choose the right one on top of COVID, not giving me all of the experience?
Yeah.
What helped me though was working on a small feature film my first year I got here. So
That must have been fun.
it was. It had its good moments. Not every film set's the best, but it had its fun and not so fun moments. But it was nice, and we premiered it the following year.
I luckily had a similar event, but of course, like freshman year, you get your feet wet.
Mm-hmm.
But we had the director. He won like a contest. I hope I'm getting his name right. I haven't, I think his name's Carl. I know his name's Carl. I don't remember his last name, but he has a short film that he did for called Ronin Nights, which is funny enough. I know the anime that it's based off of is based off of Initial D. And that was like a pretty semi-professional set. Like it was pretty well ran in my opinion. Like it had a pretty big set. They had stunt drivers and everything. So like for a first set to work on, like it was for 2 weekends.
It's a good
it was
first
6 days
impression.
in total. Yeah, like being on it really had me kind of like, oh, I was hooked. Like I
Yeah.
was like, all right, I want to do more of this.
Like you in there.
Yeah, every weekend I was on a student film set. Like every single weekend I was like busy as hell.
Nice.
It was fun. But going more into that, like, do you think, and not Dillard in particular, but do you think film school kind of prepared you for your film career? Like, you're about to graduate.
Yeah, in
Like,
about a month.
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's still surreal, still processing some of it. But I definitely say it did prepare me. A lot of this stuff kind of happened by happenstance. If I didn't do certain things, I probably wouldn't be here right now. I didn't. Bloopers. I didn't think I'd be an editor right now. I didn't know I'd be a photographer. I didn't get into either one of those things until I got to Dillard. And I think outside of that, Dillard prepared me more for the rigorousness that is being not only a film person, but a creative.
Yeah.
And it's a wake-up call. It was definitely a wake-up call being like, hey, look, you're going to be spending a lot of hours on set or off set doing whatever it is, creating.
And it's up to you just to figure that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't make that much money.
Yeah, that kind of film school kind of discourse that people have, I'm always on the side of like, it depends on how you utilize it. You know, some people are like, it's a complete waste. Some people deem that it's like necessary.
Yeah.
It really just kind of all depends on how you use it. For me, it was like, even for the short span that I was there, just the connections and the people I met, I utilized my time well. I wasn't bullshitting when I got there. Like I was very like, this is what I want to do. I need experience.
Got to make lemons out of lemonade.
Exactly, right? You know what I mean? But almost to pivot kind of to get more into that, since you are about to graduate or since the film school, is there any experience that you've been on set where you kind of had to learn the hard way? You know what I mean? Like, you're only going to learn so much like sitting in a classroom, right? Obviously, film is a very like hands-on type of thing. You can even say to an extent, that even doing like student film sets, you're only gonna learn kind of so much before getting on a
Real
quote
professional
unquote
one.
real professional film set. They're not completely different, but there are different things where it's like it is kind of night and day.
You're in a different caliber.
In my opinion, it's faster. Like student film sets, like they drag. Whereas like, you get on a professional film set and it's like, all right, we're moving on. And you're like, holy shit.
So I will
like,
say,
took 2-3 takes. We're already on to the next location.
I'll say this: being on a professional film set, I was about to say those did go off.
Yeah.
Being on a professional film set is definitely very different from an amateur one. I've been on plenty of amateur ones that have taken like 5 to 7 hours, and we're barely past a couple takes. It's bad. Sometimes they're very unorganized. Luckily, I haven't had that many bad experiences, but I've seen some. I do think that on my professional film set, I had this internship my very first year, right after my freshman year finished. It was a props internship for the show called The Premise on Hulu.
Okay.
Shout out my props master, Brooke, great guy, love him. Ricky, all those people were awesome. And I cherished that experience because one, it was my very first time on a professional set. I only had been on set 2 times. 3 technically because I had to drop something off, but
Okay.
I was the props intern, so obviously I'm just watching, shadowing, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. 1, there's so many people here. 2, I'm interacting with catering a lot because I'm just big backed. 3, I'm just like, oh my goodness, they're efficient.
Nice,
They're
yeah.
efficient with it because I'm checking out their camera department because I had another friend of mine who was like a year above me, and she was like, "Yo, they move fast.
You have to.
You have to.
It's like you're burning money.
Yes, like you're the more time time is literally money.
When you're spending time where just a single shot that you can equate it to being tens of thousands of dollars, and especially when you include talent and how busy some of these actors.
Like you got to work within budget,
brother. Like we got to fucking move.
Yeah,
because.
Like we can't go back.
Viola Davis.
Will Smith is about to leave in 2
exactly.
seconds.
Needs to get on a plane and go to another fucking shoot.
Yeah.
Time is money.
It's serious. For real. It's serious.
And I think the people that benefit more, like the one advice I get for people in film school is like, don't think that on student film set that's how it's going to be.
Ooh.
Like you really do kind of need to like make up the quicker that you can make up your mind. This is what we're gonna do. The quicker you can pivot, and that's really anything in life, especially being an artist. The more that you can just pivot and fully lean in to be like, this is what the fuck we're about to do. I don't care necessarily how it looks.
Yeah.
we just don't have time. Obviously, don't rush and don't make it a bad outcome. But don't sit there and kind of be super anal about
doing the Mr. Krabs meme like
yeah, nigga, like it's really, I don't want to say it's not that deep because it is deep, but. You know what I'm saying?
I do think for certain, if there is one valuable skill out of a lot that film has taught me, is make up your mind. You have to. Your decision-making skills got to be A1 when you're on set.
Like that. You really got to be on it. But now, considering we're both freelancers, right? I do more kind of like. I'm more into like sports broadcasting and whatnot. And I do a little like freelance for like shooting for testimonials and stuff.
Yeah.
You're helping me with one of them, funny enough, as we're filming this. Do you have any, like, what has been your experience with that so far? Do you have any stories so far that's like you've been kind of dipping your foot in that? Obviously, you're going to be doing that more now because you're about to graduate. Like, you got to find work, nigga.
Yeah.
Like,
got to pay the bills.
Exactly. About to get real.
So, the biggest piece of advice I will give for anyone who's planning on doing freelance is please know your worth and price your stuff correctly. Because there have been times where I haven't, and I did all this work because one, I was running like a chicken cut off with his head, and I get paid crumbs. It only happened twice. Real notable examples happened twice.
And you learn from those experiences.
And of course you learn from them. Now we get paid what we're due.
Exactly.
But that's my biggest piece of advice, because sometimes I just didn't know how to price my stuff because it's like, okay, this is the very first time I'm doing something like this. I know for the first time I did what was it? I did a shoe design, 2 of them. The first time I did it, it was like a favor because I'm like, okay, let me get my feet wet.
Yeah.
Second time, I actually got paid for it. I didn't really know going in how much to price certain things because for every artistic piece you do, you have to do it differently. A headshot is going to be different from a concert photography, just like how shoe art is going to be very different from like a digital art piece.
Yeah.
So that was something I kind of had to figure out because I love doing different things. I tend to be very multifaceted and sometimes unfocused. So definitely figure out your pricing. And another thing that it taught me was set boundaries, especially for your clientele. If they are late, you charge them. If they do not deliver, you charge them.
Yeah, that's a big.
This is not this business first.
Right. My little tidbit, and I haven't been doing it as long or as much, so I don't really have that much tips. But my whole thing is to set expectations. I've been told, and I've also had to exhibit expectations to let you know, like, this is what it's gonna look like. This is what I'm capable of doing.
Yep.
You don't want to work with a client who they think they're getting one thing, and then once you're done in post and you send it to them and it looks completely different.
Yeah.
And either they try to like lowball you or
like sending a lookbook is very important.
Yeah, like specs, lookbooks, anything that you can have that gives them an idea. Exactly. Just get into the habit of doing those things. Another question like to ask: are you more interested in, like, where do you want to end? Essentially, is what I'm trying to ask. Like, what do you want to do? Like, for me personally, obviously, it's to grow my brand. That's why I'm doing this, and also just to get to know other artists around. But also, my end goal that what I really want to do is for a lot of spec shoots. I want to shoot commercials essentially.
Yeah.
Like, for me, that sounds like, I don't want to say like the dream, but that sounds like the good life. You know what I'm saying? Like shooting a feature film or shooting a show, I'd love to do those things. Like I have a whole pilot for a show that I would love to shoot here locally in New Orleans.
Okay.
But like being able to just fly in somewhere and be like, all right, this is
how we gonna do it.
Exactly. Like this is the spec, and then meeting with the creative agency, and then meeting with talent. You know what I mean? And whether that's with sports or whether that's with like marketing for like clothing brand lifestyles. What I did learn was don't pigeonhole yourself. That's what I was told.
Sorry.
No, you're good. If you do one thing, they're gonna expect you just to keep doing that one thing. So if you do sports, they're just gonna continuously get you more brands with working with like Adidas, Nike, Jordan, you know. Yeah. But if you do like a campaign for a nonprofit for a child's organization, like then you're just gonna work with nonprofits. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just be very wary about pigeonholing yourself. Does that sound like something? Yeah. What are you looking for?
Last thing I want to do is be pigeonholed because
no one wants to be pigeonholed.
I think for certain I want to do various different things. Despite how people may feel about him personally, I think Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, is kind of like a little bit of a role model. Not a role model.
To a lot of people. He's my role model as well.
Like, that man did comedy, writing, directing, acting, singing. I think he's an artist too, is he?
I don't know. He can do it all.
He can do it all. He's one of them. And I look up to that because when I was a kid, people were always like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, an artist. I want to create stuff. And that still holds to this day.
I had that same thing. I remember I used to tell people I wanted to be a creative, and they're like, "What the fuck is creative? What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean you want to be a creative?"
I create. You want.
And it's cool now seeing that like I'm kind of doing what I wanted to do like when I was a child. It took me a long time to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be like a creative director. Now that I actually have like a term for what I want to do, I can explain to people like I want to be a creative director. I just want to oversee everything and be able to input my own little style and say like, no, this is what the fuck we're gonna do, and you're gonna trust me because it's gonna look good.
Plus, it's taken more seriously now.
Exactly, I have that confidence. Yeah, I'm able to show people and be like, I know what the fuck I'm doing.
Like the starving artist thing isn't as much prominent as it used to be.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned Donald Glover. It's funny that you mentioned Gambino. Like, plenty of people I talk to mention him all the time. It's funny because he kind of actually recently came out and was like, not saying don't do what I do, but it can get you in trouble, just bouncing around and doing different things. And there's a term for it. I'm blanking on what it's called. But I think a lot of artists kind of jump from thing to thing of what they want to do. which can be great. Don't get me wrong, but also can get you in trouble at times.
Well,
Speaking of, you're doing photography right now, which like when I met you, I didn't know that you were doing like more photography. Is there a reason why you're going more into that, or is it something you've always been interested in?
So I really got into photography, and I think it's mostly because I was an artist. I was like a pencil paper artist. I just love capturing beautiful things. When I got into photography, it was high school, and I was a part of the photography club. And by club, I mean me, because there was like only one person there. No, there was a couple others. Shout out to them. Some of them went to UNO. Emma was a part of it.
I was about to say, don't mention no names. I don't know those niggas.
Oh, okay.
Nigga, I went for 1 year. Like, I don't know.
But no, great people. But
shout out Emma though.
Shout out Emma. But great people. But I was one of the main people in there. I think a couple of my pictures got in the yearbook.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. But it was a big ass yearbook, so I had to surf through it. But that's really where the love of it started to show up. I bought my first camera back in 2020, and it's a Nikon D3500. I love that thing. It's my child, but it's time to get something new because it only shoots 1080p. It's not a 4K camera.
Yeah, you gotta upgrade.
Yeah, and I gotta get lenses, and Jesus, that's expensive.
Yeah,
but it's definitely something. It's a passion. I don't know if it's gonna be my main thing, but don't know what the future can hold because I didn't think I'd be an editor. But I love, more specifically, headshots, creative studio shoots, and just trying to experiment as much as I can with it.
What do you want to shoot? You want to shoot like just anything really, or do you want to do headshots for like musicians? Do you want to do, I don't know if you want to do sports photography. I don't.
Sports, not as much.
No, you're not.
More so for musicians.
Okay. Like you want to go to concerts and festivals.
Concerts, festivals. I love a creative studio shoot. Studio shoots are some of my favorite ones because I think I can just. I'm a kid again. I'm a kid in the candy store because I can experiment as much as I want to.
That's so fun.
It's a lot.
I love that shit is fun. I'm not gonna lie.
It's very fun.
I don't know. I love being on set with people or on like creative shoots, and everyone's like in a good vibe. Everyone's like happy and excited. And shit. That shit's cool.
Yeah.
But kind of even going further into what you're saying, like, are you working on anything right now, or do you have any future plans to work on things? Like, what's Kyle's future looking like now that he's graduating from Dillard in 1 month? Nigga, like, fucking congrats. I keep mentioning that, but like,
thank you.
That really is like a big feat.
Thank you very much. Right now, I think there's a couple things down the pipeline.
Okay. At least you got shit lined up.
One is a short film that I've been wanting to do since October. I couldn't do it because Halloween was very busy. I flew out of state for other stuff and homecoming. Couldn't happen. So now, this is my last big film project.
Okay.
For the semester. It's called Pop. It's a horror film.
All right. Give us a little synopsis.
So basically, popcorn reading is something I did a lot as a kid in English classes. I don't even know if it's called that, but that's what I remember it as.
That's what I call it.
Basically, you popcorn over to somebody else to read their section of the book. The teacher is the main horror villain. All the students have to survive because basically, if you don't know where you are in the book, if you don't have your book, if you don't show up to class, if you're rude, disruptive, whatever, your head pops like a popcorn. And the teacher even has like a bowl of popcorn next to him. So I'm gonna get real.
God, that sounds wild as hell.
Mise en scene.
That sounds wild as hell.
Yeah, it's a crazy one. It's a crazy one, and when everyone has that same reaction, it's like, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
But
that sounds cool though.
I'm very excited. The most expensive part is the fake blood.
Yeah, that's gonna be tricky. How you gonna do that? How you gonna?
So I don't have a budget for special effects. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna be real artsy with it. So
you gotta get creative.
I'm gonna just show him eating the popcorn and then cut back to blood on the floor, something like that.
Well, I know what you're capable of, Kyle. So I know it's gonna come out great.
Thank you.
Everyone, be on the lookout for Kyle's short film called Pop.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else that you're working on? Anything in the future that you're looking to do?
At the moment, I'm looking at an internship for. I'm part of this program. I was able to thankfully get in as a finalist, and I'm currently looking at either being in New York Atlanta or Los Angeles for a potential internship.
Damn, good luck, nigga.
We're gonna see what happens.
Any of those cities.
Any
Good
of those
luck.
cities. Good luck. Yeah. They do pay for housing, so.
Hey. Damn.
So.
All right. That's what's up.
Yeah, but that's only in the summer. It's not any other time.
Okay.
Outside of that, I have I'm revamping my art page. Fulton's Finest is the name.
Yeah, shout out all your ads.
So okay, we got Fulton's Finest, which is the art page. Kyle F. Nola, which is my main page. You can also see some of my photography on there and videography. I have my film reel up there, and my website is in the bio. Outside of that, I'm revamping my art page because that thing's been dead for years. And I'm just gonna start posting all the stuff I have in the chamber. And yeah, I'm excited because I'm planning stuff out for the fall. I'm gonna see who I'm gonna be out there because I know some people in Georgia and Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I'm gonna see who's out there and might start shooting with them.
I believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But thank you, Kyle. Thank you for doing this sit down.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
It's been a pleasure.
Good to see you.
This feels more like a reunion rather than like a sit down talk. Yeah.
Because it's been what, like a year?
I wouldn't say a year. Probably only a few months.
Last time I saw you was what?
I didn't even have my locks.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone, thank you for watching the broadcast. Thank you for sitting along and watching me and Kyle have a conversation. It's
Thank
been
you,
another
RJ.
episode of Dub. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for sticking around. Make sure that you love somebody today. Keep creating. Catch you on the next one.